Hello everyone. Today I am going to read the story of Lila from the Concise Yoga Vasistha by Swami Venkateshanand. It's a long story but crucial to the very theme of this book. So the story goes like this. So once there was a king named Padma and he had a beautiful wife named Lila. They were like the perfect couple living an ideal life. One day Lila had this thought that her life is wonderful and she wondered what she could do to make it last forever. So Lila worshipped the goddess of wisdom, Saraswati, and asked her for immortality. However, the goddess denies her request, saying everything that is material has to eventually, die. So Lila instead asks her for two boons. First, that when her husband dies, his jiva, soul, remains in the palace. And second, that she be able to invoke the goddess whenever she wishes. A few years later, Lila's husband, the king, dies in a battle. And Lila is inconsolable with grief and she remembers her boons and she then invokes the goddess Saraswati and asks her where her husband is. Saraswati tells her, "O Lila, there are three types of space: the psychological space, the physical space, and the third, infinite space of consciousness. Of these, the most subtle is the infinite space of consciousness. By intense meditation on this infinite space, you will be able to see and experience the presence of one like your husband, whose body is in that infinite space, even though you do not see him there. That is the infinite space which exists in the middle when the finite intelligence travels from one place to another. So it exists in the middle of different planes." Then Lila begins to meditate and immediately she entered the highest state of consciousness, called Nirvikalpa, and she entered the infinite space of consciousness. There she saw the king once again on a throne, surrounded by many kings who adored him. But they did not see her. Then she again came back to the palace. She then asked all the royal court to assemble. And she is then puzzled that how come these people are at both the places. They are in the royal court in front of me. But when I was in this infinite space of consciousness, I could see them there as well. So which is real, which is reflection? Okay. So Saraswati replies, "How can the unreal be the effect of the real? The effect is the cause, even in the case of a pot which is able to hold water, whereas its cause, clay, cannot. When you find no immediate cause for an effect, then surely the cause existed in the past, that is memory. Memory is like space, empty. All creation here is the effect of that emptiness, and hence the creation is empty too." So it says that memory is like a space and it's empty, and because all the creation is a result of the memory, and they are empty as well and just illusionary product of the memory. Then Saraswati narrates another story to illustrate more the dreamlike nature of the creation. In pure consciousness, in a corner of the mind of the creator, there was a dilapidated shrine covered with a blue dome. It had the 14 wards of 4 rooms. So if you remember in one of our earlier chapters, we discussed the 14 universes, 14 realms. And she says that it had 14 wards for rooms. The 3 divisions of space were holes in it. The sun was the light. In it there were little ant hills, the cities, little piles of earth, mountains, and little pools of water, the oceans. In a very small corner of it, there lived a holy man with his wife and children. He was healthy and free from fear. He performed his religious and social duties well. That holy man was known as Vasistha, and his wife was Arundhati. So little confusion here. Who is Vasistha, who is narrating this story, and who is the Vasistha that we see in that dome, in the mind of the creator, the world created in the mind of the creator? Then Saraswati tells that one day the holy man sees a procession of a king. In his heart there's a wish that I also want to ride a royal elephant like this someday. After some time this man grew old and died. Before this, his wife, who was highly devoted to him, prayed to me and asked for the same boon that you had asked for. Saraswati tells Lila that Vasistha's wife, just like how you asked for those two boons, she also asked me the similar boons. Now the interesting part, this man then gives up his life, and because of wish in the previous lifespan, he becomes a mighty king. His wife also dies. She becomes the queen. Again, she is reborn as a queen of this man. She in fact is Lila. So Saraswati tells Lila, it is the same holy man who is now your husband, the king, and you are the same Arundhati who was his wife, and 8 days has passed since that happened. But on account of ignorance, the memory of the past is hidden, and you too have risen again. Death is but waking from a dream. Birth, which arises from a wish, is no more real than the wish, like waves in a mirage. Even after the creation of all this in the holy man's house, it remained as it was before. Then Lila is a little confused. She says, "Oh goddess, you said that it was only 8 days ago, yet me and my husband have lived for a long time. How can you reconcile this discrepancy?" So when I read this, I remember the popular movie Inception starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Many of you might have seen that movie. And you remember the scene where his wife, after staying in the dream world for too long, struggles to accept the reality, the real world when she returns. She believes the real world is also a dream, an imagination, and all that she needs is, to die, just like she dies in the dream, to come out of it. And to escape that, she eventually kills herself. Just like in this book, where Lila is, you said only 8 days has passed, but for me, years have passed, right, living with my husband. And the movie Inception also plays with the similar concept of time. It depicts the time passing differently in dreams. When characters enter a dream, time slows down compared to the real world. The deeper they go, dream within the dream, the time keeps getting slowing down even more. And what is like 1 minute in the real world, within the dream it feels like years have passed. I read Yoga Vasistha much before the movie came out, and when I saw Inception, I immediately connected it to the story of Lila in Yoga Vasistha. And I was amazed by how people applauded the movie, commending it for introducing such a unique, interesting concept. And I couldn't help but be amused by the lack of awareness that we have, right? The concept already exists hundreds of years back. It's mentioned in a book which is more than 1,000 years old. But then I also know that this is a common occurrence. People in India are often dismissive or unaware of ideas until they are presented by the West, at which point they are celebrated as being highly creative. This lack of self-esteem and constantly seeking external validation has become too common in us. And we need to look past, develop our own sense of self-esteem. We need to read more to know what the ideas that are written in our philosophical texts and different scriptures that we have. So coming back to the story, Saraswati tells to Lila, "O Lila, just as space does not have a fixed span, time does not have a fixed span either. Just as the world and its creation are mere appearances, a moment and an epoch are also imaginary, not real. In the twinkling of an eye, the jiva undergoes the illusion of the death experience, forgets what happened before that, and in the infinite consciousness thinks, I am this, I am his son, I am so many years old, etc. Even as in a dream, there is birth, death and relationship, all in a very short time. And even as a lover feels that a single night without his beloved is an epoch, the jiva thinks of experienced and non-experienced objects the twinkling of an eye. And immediately thereafter, he imagines those things, the world, to be real. Even those things which he had not experienced or seen present themselves before him as in a dream. The world and this creation is nothing but memory, dream. Distance and measures of time are like hallucinations. There is one kind of knowledge, memory, and there is another, which is not based on memory or past experience. This is the meeting of atoms in a consciousness, which are then able to produce their own effects. Liberation is the realization of the total non-existence of the universe as such. This is different from a mere denial of the existence of the ego and the universe. The latter is only half knowledge. Liberation is to realize that all this is pure consciousness. Very important points here. First, so this book presents this idea that just like how for us, while we are living in the dream is real. Similarly, this world also is nothing but a dream. Okay, and there is infinite planes of consciousness that exist, and everything is a play of memory, right? And the measures of time and distance are nothing but hallucination. They are not fixed measures. But apart from the knowledge which is based on memory, there is another knowledge, the knowledge of the self, and it has to be realized. Again, the book presents this point that mere denial of the existence of ego and the universe is not going to be liberating. It will be half knowledge as such, and so we need to realize it. We need to experience it somehow in us. Then only we will be truly liberated. So whose thought are we? This world is whose thought? Is whose dream? So Saraswati tells, the prior hallucination of the creation of the holy man and his wife was due to the thought form of Brahma, the creator. He himself had no hidden thought forms, memory. Before creation, there was dissolution, and at that time the creator had attained liberation. At the beginning of this epoch, someone assumes the role of creator and thinks, I am the new creator. This is pure coincidence. So it talks about the existence being cyclical, and universe being created and recreated, and at the end of one cycle the creator finds liberation. Then when the another cycle starts, someone takes the form of assumes the role of creator, and the new universe starts again. So further on the subject of dream, Saraswati tells Lila that in dream the dream body appears to be real, but when there is an awakening to the fact of dream, the reality of that body vanishes. Even so, when the dream ends, deep sleep ensures. When the seeds of thought perish, you are liberated. After Saraswati's explanation, Lila wants to go through that and see the hut. So both they sit in deep meditation and enter nirvikalpa samadhi. So they roam freely in their wisdom bodies. Though it seemed that they had traveled millions of miles in space, they were still in the same room, but on another plane of consciousness. They saw all that was already in the mind of Saraswati, and which Saraswati wanted to show Queen Lila. Having seen the oceans, mountains, protectors of the universe, the kingdoms of the gods, the sky, and the very bowels of the earth, Lila saw her own house. The two ladies then entered into holy man's house. The whole family was in mourning. Then they both entered that hut and asked people there that why are they crying, why are they in grief. And the son replied, "Oh ladies, my father and my mom, they were devoted and righteous, and they died 8 days back." Now Lila, because of the grace of Devi, she is able to recollect everything. She says, "O divinity, since emerging as a reflection in the infinite consciousness, I have had 800 births, and I have been a creeper, a sheikh's daughter, a king, mosquito, bee, fish, swan, mosquito again, celestial male, and I have been caught up on the repetitive existence samsara." On account of the intensity of her practice of the yoga of wisdom, Lila had acquired full knowledge of the past, present, and future. Saraswati and Lila then rose into space and saw the whole creation. Beyond that was pure consciousness. Because of the essential nature of this infinite consciousness, universes, jiva, and forms keep arising and again arising, and by their own thought force return to a state of tranquility. Of those countless universes, O Ram, in some there are only plants, some have Brahma, Vishnu, and Rudra as the presiding deities, and some have none at all. In some there are only animals and birds, in some there is only an ocean. Some are solid rocks, some are inhabited only by worms. Some are pervaded by dense darkness. In some angels dwell, some are forever illuminated, some seem to be heading towards dissolution, some seem to be falling in space towards destructions. Since consciousness exists everywhere forever, creation of these universes and their dissolution also goes on everywhere forever. All these are held together by a mysterious omnipresent power, everything exists in one infinite consciousness, everything arises from it, and it alone is everything. So we'll end this story here, and the gist of this story is that there is one infinite consciousness and multiple universes, not multiple planets or stars, multiple universes altogether that exist in that infinite consciousness. And universe come into existence and dissolve within that plane of infinite consciousness. So very much like the idea of multiverse, multiple universes existing, and all creation is just dream and memory. So it's the memory that creates creation, it's the wish that creates creation. So it shows us the immense power that the mind has. The mind can create its own universes. The mind has power to create its own universe, just like how it happens in a mini form in our dreams. So we are yet to explore the capabilities of the mind, and whether this world is real or a dream or someone else's dream, it's hard to know. Maybe we keep meditating like how Lila meditated, and with some grace someday we may realize as well. Or maybe it is real, who really knows? Just like Devdutt Patnaik has written in his book, within infinite myths lies the eternal truth. Who sees it all? Varuna has 1,000 eyes. Indra has 100. You and I only 2. So who knows that what is eternal truth? There are infinite myths, infinite universes. But maybe with exploration someday we will. And if others could be realized and could know this, maybe someday we can as well. All it takes is seeking. That's all for now, and I'll see you in the next video, and I'll try to come up with another interesting story. So goodbye till then. See you.